Hello, this is Benjamin with ARI, your website company. The point of this video will be to go through all of the basics that you need to get started with the CMS editor, the editor for your responsive website. The first thing that you'll need is your login. Your login should have been sent to you by your implementation specialist. The three things that you'll see in that email titled CMS Editor Login or CMS Editor Credentials is first the URL that you'll use to get to the login screen for the editor, which is ari-cms.com. When you reach that login screen, it'll ask you for your username and password. Your username will be your business email that you use on a day-to-day basis, and your password will be whatever your implementation specialist has assigned you. If for any reason you're having trouble logging in on that login screen, there is a third option near the bottom of the page that will say Forgot Password. You can use that at any point to go in and reset your password to something that you're better to remember. Once you've successfully logged in, this will be the very first page that you'll see, known as the dashboard. Every single time you log in, the dashboard is the first screen that you'll see. The next thing that you'll want to do once you hit the dashboard is go about halfway down the center of this dashboard until you reach a box labeled Sites. Within Sites, we'll click on Domains, and the specific address that we're looking to open on the next page is the only one that includes ARI-build. This will open up your temporary build site. We'll open that up in a brand new tab, and as soon as that loads, we'll have my build site. There we are. Now, the first thing we'll be covering today is a page called New Models. Now, depending on how they laid out the primary navigation on your home page here, the actual New Models page may have one of many different labels. Some of the ones that I see them use the most would be New Models, New Vehicles, Brands, Brands We Carry, Showroom, Showcase, Manufacturers, and in my case, Manufacturer Brochures. We'll click on Manufacturer Brochures, which of course will lead to the New Models page. On the New Models page, you have three responsibilities to your customer. Number one, make sure that the manufacturers they see on this initial page is in fact what you want them to see. Second, underneath each manufacturer, designate the types of equipment that you'd like them to see. And third, underneath each type of equipment, make sure that you designate the years lineups that you want them to see. And if you want them to see multiple years lineups, you certainly can. To control everything that we just talked about here on the New Models page, we'll jump back to the editor. In our left-hand menu, we'll hover over Store, and we'll click into Catalogs. Once we get into Catalogs, there'll be an alphabetical list of all of those manufacturers that we saw on the New Models page. To the left of each manufacturer's name, you'll see an enabled number. All that enabled number means is the types of equipments that you've chosen, as well as the year's lineups you've chosen. A good example of this would be Husqvarna. We'll click into Husqvarna, which right now says to enabled. We'll simply click anywhere on this gray bar, and it drops down. Currently, the only types of equipment we have enabled for Husqvarna on this particular site are the residential lawnmowers, and we have both the 2021 and 2022 lineups selected to display on that New Models page. Now, the two ways that you'll know that a specific year's lineup of a type of equipment is currently displaying on that New Models page of your site is first, the box will be checked, and second, it will be highlighted in this sky blue color. If the box is checked, but it is not highlighted in that sky blue color, then you know that that particular year's lineup of equipment is only listed here in the editor and not on the New Models page of your site. We'll go ahead and shrink that back down by clicking on the Husqvarna bar once again. Now, obviously, you will want to check through to make sure that this information is accurate to what you want to display on that New Models page. Once you've done that, if you find that there are one or multiple manufacturers missing from this list, you do have the ability to add on more. One tab to the right of Active, we'll next click on Available. Once we get over to Available, again, there'll be a large alphabetical list of additional manufacturers that, if you so choose, you can add on to that active list and have them appear on that new models page. To the right of each manufacturer, it will state the industry that that particular brand serves. So if you're looking to make finding and selecting the particular manufacturer easier, you can go up into the upper right-hand corner, click on the drop down to the far right of where it says filter by industry. And for today, we'll select marine brands only. And it pulls up marine. Now let's say for today, we wanted to add on aqua patio. Sure. We'll select a checkbox next to aqua patio. We'll go up to the top of the column and we'll click on Save Changes. Now, just so that you are aware, if you're ever in this list, you've made your selection and you're looking to make a save like we are now, this Save Changes box is both at the top and bottom of this first column. We'll click Save. We can see our green status bar that goes from upper left to upper right, and when it finishes, it gives you this big green Post-it note. We'll then jump back to active, and we can see that aqua patio has been added to the list. But unlike the rest, at first it says 0 enabled. So we'll click on the 0 enabled, and we'll choose to include the 2022 lineup of pontoons from aqua patio. Again, we'll click on Save Changes, and we'll see that same status bar across the top of our screen. Now, up to this point, you've only been making a series of save changes here in the editor. None of the save changes have yet to be pushed over to your site and appear on that new models page. So to take the entire lump sum of save changes you've made here in the editor and push them over to the site so they visually appear on that new models page, we'll go into the upper right corner, click on the name of our business, and run the first option that states Publish Changes. Once that Publish goes through, you'll see a big green Success Post-it note down in the lower right corner. Now, all we have to do to view that new aqua patio brand on the new models page is jump back to our new models page on the site and refresh our browser. Once we do, this should display that aqua patio in our new models list. And there it is. Now, I don't actually carry anything new from aqua patio, so I'd like to remove this. So we'll jump back to our editor, back to Available. We'll uncheck aqua patio, click on that green Save Changes once again, and it says, okay, you'd like to remove aqua patio and specifically the 2022 pontoons lineup. Yes, remove. Now again, because we've made another series of save changes here to the editor, and we want to push the new information over to the site, we'll go up into the upper right-hand corner, and again, click on the name of our business, and run that first option that states Publish Changes. And again, we get that success stamp. We'll jump back to the new models page, and this time when we refresh our browser for the new models page, the aqua patio brand should disappear. And there you can see, even before it finishes loading, it is in fact gone. We'll jump back to our editor. Next, we'll jump right back into store, but this time we'll go all the way down to Locations. Within Locations, I always jokingly say that this is the section that some of the most important information for the functionality and look of your site is put. Important details such as names, addresses, phone numbers, physical addresses, and other crucial details like that. The 3 tabs that you will want to inspect the very first time that you log in to make sure that they are accurate are the following: Details, Sales and Lead Management, and Online Scheduling. The Details tab is nothing more than your business name, address, and general contact information down at the bottom. Second, Sales and Lead Management. The name of the tab says it all. Over to the left, you have a list of every single form that your customer can fill out on the site. As of right now, the only person set to receive the automatic notification email when that form is filled out on the site is this individual. However, you can add on as many extra individuals to also receive that same notification down in the CC field. Just make sure that when you're adding in all of those additional emails that you follow our example formatting, otherwise it will not work. And last, we have online scheduling. If at some point you would like to give your customers the ability to schedule a service or repair appointment directly from the services page on your site, you could go through and check the active box up top, thereby allowing them to do so. Or if you leave the active box unchecked, the only options your customer has is to stop by and see you in person, give you a call on the phone, or fill out the request service form that will be listed on the services page of your site by default. Next, in our left-hand menu, we'll hover our mouse over Site, and in the sub-menu that appears, we'll click on Pages. This will be for editing the text paragraphs that you have on various pages of your site. Now, when your site is first built out before anyone has had a chance to edit it, the three most likely pages that will have a text paragraph on it is the home page, the About Us, and the Services page. But in order to make this training easier to understand and retain, let's make things very easy and just use the paragraph that's at the bottom of this home page. If all we're looking to do is make a few simple edits to this welcome paragraph, sure, jump back to your editor. After you've gone into Site and Pages, it gives you a list of every page on your site that currently has a paragraph on it. For today, we're going to click on the Home page. This will bring you to Page Detail Home. Here, you're looking for what's called the primary text asset, which is just the big fancy name for this big ugly gray box that you see up top. You'll again find the name Home, go over to the far right and click on Edit. This will jump you over into the simplistic text editor that we have, where you can do all of the basics like check for any spelling or grammatical errors, add in pictures, hyperlinks, YouTube videos, and a few other forms of media that you can add in here as well. Next, we're going to go into Site and into Offers. Now this controls the sliding advertisements that you see on the home page of your site, these ones right here. Again, depending on how your site was built out, you may or may not have these offers. These offers are meant to advertise brands that you sell at your business that are already insanely popular to push more traffic to them. Let's go ahead and take a look on how to change these sliding offers. We'll jump back to our editor. Now, as of right now, you can see that I only have 3 in the queue: Sea-Doo, Steel chainsaws, Mahindra tractors. To adjust the display order of these, you can simply click, drag, and drop. The maximum number of offers you can have in here is 10. However, according to research that we have conducted, the average customer that visits your site will only view between 3 and 5. And our recommendation is list your most popular brand that is already insanely popular and sells well at the top, and simply look at the rest of your records and do the number 2 selling brand, number 3 selling brand, or type of equipment, so on and so forth. There are 3 different types of promotions that you can add in here. Factory promotions are ones that are on a regular basis actually sent to us from the manufacturer, and they are easy to add in. Pre-designed offers are generic offers that you can put in for types of equipment that are still popular, but there is not currently a promotion that was provided by some fantastic deal from the manufacturer that we designed in-house. And then, of course, if you can't find the offer that you're looking for in either one of these options, you can always drop into Custom Offer, which allows you to go in and design one of these offers completely from scratch. First, let's check out factory promotions. As you can see, there's quite a few in here that I could add in. Let's go ahead and just for the example, take a look at what Arcticat has to offer. And there we are. If we wanted to add that one in, we would simply click on Add to Offer Queue, and it would add it to the bottom of the order. But as I just said a few moments ago, if you want to take that and move it to the very first offer in the order, you could simply click and drag it up there. Now, if you are worried that, you know what, Ben, what if there is a current promotion from one of my manufacturers, from one of my distributors, that is supposed to be on the site in order for me to meet regulations to get that regular funding from them? What if I forget to come in here and add that on, and then I'm in violation of that policy and I no longer get that sponsor money from them? Not to worry. If you are worried that you're not going to be able to have time to dedicate to get in each sales quarter when these come out, to get in here and update them manually, you can just simply slide over to automatic. You would first click on enabled. Display limit is the number of offers that you want to have automatically updated with current manufacturer promotions automatically. So let's go ahead and state 3, and we'll hit save. Now we'll go ahead and close out of here. And now we can see that within this bar right here, it will take 3 promotions from factory promotions and automatically update them whenever they come out. And then last, of course, is custom offer. The title. The title that you put in here never actually appears on the site. It's only for saving it and for internal use, so that if you delete this out of the current queue and you need to add it back in by going to archive that we see here, you can find the title and easily click it and add it back in. Banner link. This is where on the site you want your customers to be led when they click on these offers. So think of these offers as giant buttons. You can lead them to a specific brand, specific type of equipment, all by controlling the link that you copy and paste into this section. Timeline. By default, it will be set to run indefinitely, but if you want this offer to be pulled at a specific date, on midnight of the end date, it will pull that offer off of the site. So if it's for a temporary sale or promotion for, let's say, the holidays over Christmas, New Year's, Memorial Day, whatever it may be, you can set it to end when you want. Banner image. Pay no attention at all to these recommendations. They are incorrect, and I have been begging our team to change them, but they simply won't. The actual recommended size for this is 1920 by 620. That is length and then height in the measurement of pixels. The density of pixels should be roughly 90 dpi, and the actual file size should be underneath 20 kilobyte. And if you get the correct image sizing, it will show up in this preview area. And if it is not the correct sizing, either file size or physical size, it will give you a giant red error in this box, and you'll know that you can go back and try it again. Title tag and alt tag are what appears when you actually hover over a completed offer. Let me explain. So the title tag that you see, Mahindra Tractors, is your title tag. The alt tag is what appears down in the lower left-hand corner down here when I hover over the offer. You will want to put some type of enticing words in there, some type of strong marketing words in there, like explore our vast amount of Mahindra units or something like that. The banner association section no longer works, so simply don't use it. And then you can click on Save Offer. And if it looks good here in the editor, you can go through and, of course, publish that onto the site. And before you publish it, you can move it into whatever order you feel like. Next, the area that we're going to be covering is strictly to only be used in the event of emergency. That would be leads and leads. Now, this internal leads manager within the CMS editor is only to be used in the event of emergency. Example, let's say that the third-party email provider that you have trusted in communicating correctly all of the incoming and outgoing forms and such off of your site, their server goes down temporarily, or their service goes down temporarily. You can still log into the editor, see the requests that are coming in, and respond in plain black text here, should you ever need to. The next area that we're going to jump into is one that when I'm on my one-on-one calls with dealers, will often generate a lot of genuine excitement. Let's get into products and inventory manager. This is of course the tool that you'll use to add in your new, used, and new non-current units that you have in stock on location that you'd like to feature on the site. There are two ways you can go about the process. You can click on Add Unit Inventory, which, according to popular opinion from dealers that I've spoken to in the past, is the easier way of doing things. You follow the prompt by prompt, step by step instructions and add in the information one field at a time, and it kind of walks you through it. And you can add in one unit at a time. If instead you want to upload multiple units at a time, you can go through and click on Import Units. This instead uses a very carefully formatted Excel spreadsheet that you can instead upload into the system all at once. Now, I am not going to be covering import units process today, but there is a dedicated video and help article within the Help Center in which you can look at to learn how to do the whole process. Let's click on Add Unit Inventory. Once you reach this page, there are two ways in which you can enter your unit's information. If you would prefer to add in all of your details manually, you can do that on the second half of the page underneath this unit model and details sign. If your unit you're entering is 2006 and newer, you can use the year, make, model lookup instead to autofill a large portion of this information for you. Simply type in your unit's information in the order that they suggest here. As you type, it will give you suggestions that you can click on to, as I said, autofill a large portion of the info down below. As a real-world example, let's go with a 2021. Let's go with Triumph. And it should start to give us suggestions. Perfect. The one I'm looking for is the Scrambler 1200 XC Standard. There it is. We'll click on the suggestion. When we do, it fills in as much information down below as it can for us. One particular area that you'll always want to have filled in for every single unit, every time, is your link to field. As long as it matches the model line above it, it is done correctly. The link to, when filled in correctly, will bring in all of the original manufacturer specifications and features text, as well as a small amount of stock photos that, if you so choose, you can use to represent the unit on your site. Unless the unit is really old, the average number of pictures that are pulled in are somewhere between 3 and 5. Display unit in Showcase. If you have this box checked when you make your final save and publish, pushing this unit's information to the site, not only is it going to show up on your dedicated inventory pages, but it's also going to show up in a very specific spot on that new models page. I'll just jump in here and show you. Now let us pretend for a moment that this is our Triumph catalog. If we were to click on the new models, it would lead us to very generic looking pictures and information as if the customer went over to the manufacturer's site and looked for the specific model they wanted there. To the right are all of the units that you chose to click that display and showcase button will be displayed there that are of that brand. Stock number and VIN are not required to display the unit on the site, but if you have them, I would highly recommend that you add them in, not only for your customers' benefit so that they can search the history of the vehicle, but also the unit will have a higher tendency to show up in searches on Google if you do. And if your unit does not have a VIN and it has a serial number instead, the VIN field will accept a valid serial number. Location. Unless you have multiple locations, you really won't have to worry about this. But if you are a dealer that is fortunate enough to have multiple locations, before you add in your first unit, just make sure that all of your locations are listed. If they're not, get a hold of your implementation specialist immediately and make sure they get added in before you add in that first unit. And the reason I'm telling you to do this is so that you can avoid a very large headache later down the road. Use different address location. Okay, if you're selling a brokerage unit and you would like to list a different location of where the unit is actually located, you can click on the checkbox here and it gives you all of the necessary fields to do so. In the upper right, we have title and condition, which are both required, color and trim color, which are optional, new and used, required. Well, this one is from 2021, so it'll have some usage on it. So we'll say used. Usage unit is simply the measurement of use that is on the unit. The three that you'll have in your drop-down menu by default are hours, miles, and kilometers. But if your unit uses multiple of these or none of these, you can always click on Add New to put in your own custom measurement. For today, we'll go with miles, and we'll say that there's roughly 69.50. Base price. If you'd like to type in your own price, you can select Web Price, and the field down below will open up for you to type that in. Or, if you're nervous to list a price, you can always select Call for Price instead, or one of the many other selections. Best price. This is a legal way of getting around map restrictions. In other words, let's say Triumph sends you a brand new bike. When doing so, they tell you you cannot list that new bike on your site for anything less than MSRP, otherwise it's a breach of the rules in the contract that you signed with us. Well, we definitely don't want to do that. So if you can sell the bike for underneath MSRP, here's how you would proceed. In base price, you would select web price. In this field here, you would type in the known MSRP for that unit. In the best price, you would type in the lower dollar amount that you could sell it for in store. When you enter a value into this field, it generates a best price button to the right of the unit's listing on your site. When a customer clicks on best price, it asks them for their name and email, and when they fill it out and hit submit, it sends them an immediate private email with that lower price in it. And then, since you're in private negotiations, you can choose to give that customer whatever price that you'd like. Destination charge. This is any charge that you would incur in getting the unit from the manufacturer to your location that you'd like to pass on to your customer. Description. This is a great place to list any damage to the unit, any custom modifications from the last owner, and any extras you might be including, such as maintenance tools, replacement fluids, off-season cover, or potentially a specialty trailer to haul the unit in inclement weather. Now, the information that I'm about to go through, I guarantee you most of you already know, but I have to go through it. According to a recent study that was published, you are 63 to 65% more likely to sell a unit and sell it within the first week that you have it if you list it as a package deal. This means including some of those extras that we just talked about. The reason for this, according to human psychology, is the more extras you add onto a unit in its package, the greater the perceived value of the base unit becomes to that customer. Now, that is a great tip that comes from our team. But in the 6.5 years that I have been doing this, I have noticed a couple of unique things that our top selling dealers on this platform use. I'm going to take you through all of them really quickly right now. Number one, whether the field is required or not, fill in all the fields. Number two, always list a price for the unit. Number three, for as many new and used units as you can, include them in some type of package deal. And last but not least, all of our top selling dealers on this platform will use all of the images that they took and will hardly ever use our stock images. We'll go ahead and hit save and move on to our next required area. Our next required area would be specs and features. Now, this is all the information that was pulled in from the manufacturer by setting that link to field correctly on the last page. Now, the likelihood of something being incorrect in this information is few and far between. But let's say something happens and they replace the front suspension with simply a different brand but a highly compatible part. And you need to go in and make that correction. To make a change to the main description or what's in this chart, you can flip over to Use Customized. You can click on one or both of these and not only make changes and edits, but also add in as much additional information as you see fit for the unit. Manage images. Now, because this unit is a newer unit, it brought in lots of nice high-resolution images, which is great. If you want to use them, awesome. For any that you don't, even if it means using none of them, click on the big bright red delete over to the right. To add in your own images, we'll click on Add Custom Images. This file browser you will be using in multiple places in the editor, and by default, no matter where you're using it, and no matter what type of file you're using to upload, it will always appear on this Browse tab first. But to begin pulling files off of your computer, you'll slide over to the right and click on Upload, and then to the far left, select Files. We'll go ahead and grab just a few random images off of my computer today. We'll go with this one. Hold down the Control key so we can select multiple, and this one, and we'll hit Open. Once we have a full green status bar and 100% to the right of each one of these image names, it adds it to the Browse tab. Now, if you don't immediately want to add in all of those images that you just uploaded, you don't have to. Pick and choose from the larger group. Any of the images that appear down on the bottom here as a thumbnail will get added to the bottom of this list we see behind this pop-up menu when you click on Choose Selected Images. And of course, it adds it in down at the bottom. The order in which you see these images displayed here in the editor is going to get carried over to your site and displayed in the same order on your site. Now, there's only one rule that contradicts what I just said. Let's say there's an image towards the middle of the group that you want to display first, but for whatever reason, you don't want to move it all the way to the top of the list. No problem. Fill in the radio button to the left of that image. It will display this image first, and then the rest of the logical order that it will follow will be from the top of the list to the bottom. And because this wave runner has nothing to do with this bike, delete, OK, and it's gone. A tool that we added in about a year ago now is Add Custom Caption, and I have gotten very good feedback on it from our dealers, is you're now able to add in a different custom caption to the bottom of each image if you like. It not only gives your customer a better idea of what they are purchasing, but also helps with SEO value should someone search for a brand, type of equipment, or service that you offer on your site. Edit visibility. Here we have three important things to cover. First is sales channels. By default, every sales channel will be checked for every unit that you add in through this tool when you reach this tab. However, should this ARI website box become unchecked, before that save and publish, this unit will only be listed here in the editor and not on your site. Other examples of popular sales channels that I see almost on a daily basis would be sales channels like Auction123, Kijiji, Craigslist, Backlot, Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace, RV Trader, Cycle Trader, eBay Motors, and quite a few others. Depending on the website package you got from us, you could see as many as 13 different sales channels listed here. Over to the right is product groups. This is a fast and easy way to attract attention to a unit that you need sold quickly. Adding a unit to one of these product groups by checking off its box will take the year, make, model, first picture, and price of the unit and place it down on the bottom of your homepage in a very similar format to a classified ad for a used vehicle. Just so you can see a real-world example of what product groups will look like on your site, we'll jump back to my site, back to my homepage, and I'll show you the ones that I have created for my site. We'll scroll down. First, we have the Ducati, top sellers, our favorites, side-by-side UTV, and all ATVs. The product groups that you design and put on your site will look very similar to these. We'll jump back to our editor. And finally, we have Showrooms. Showrooms is a way of adding extra detail and extra clarification to the unit filters that are already on the inventory pages of your site. Let me show you. So we'll jump over to my site. We'll go on to my pre-owned inventory page. And as we can see over to the left, we have quite a few filters you can apply to help your customer narrow down to the specific thing that they're looking for. If we scroll down about 3/4 of the way, you can see these showrooms that I've created. For today, let's go with snowmobile. I've taken my 3 most popular selling units, historically speaking, and added them in here. Now, when I initially sat down with one of our marketing individuals and he started listing off all the benefits of doing this, to be honest, it kind of made my head swim. But the two that stuck with me was number 1, it saves your customer time. According to actual statistics that we have tracked, the average number of filters that are clicked if you have a good showroom is somewhere between 1 and 4. If you don't have a showroom, that average jumps somewhere between 3 and 11. The other thing is, since you're adding these units in either in small handfuls or one by one, it's almost as if the customer stood right in front of you and said, hey, based on your years of experience and beard of knowledge, what is the best unit to fit my needs? But since it's digital, that customer never has to leave their comfy couch at home. To adding these showrooms is really easy. Jump back to your editor. Underneath showrooms, click into the Add New. Type in the name that you like, and click on the green plus over to the right. It adds it here in alphabetical order, and of course, if you want this unit in that showroom, simply check the box before you save and publish. We'll go ahead and click Save. This should lead us back to the first page of the Inventory Manager. So far, so good. Now let's go ahead and go up into the upper right-hand corner, click on the name of our business, and again, run that Publish Changes, and this should carry the unit over to our site. Wonderful. Now we'll simply take that model information, highlight it, right-click, copy, jump back over to our site. And as a way of refreshing the entire website, we'll go back to the home page. Once that completely refreshes, all we have to do is act like a customer and search for that unit. Now, if we're lucky, this unit should show up within the first 6 results that we see on the next page. Let's find out. And there it is right there, the 1, 2, 3, and 4th one down. It used the image that I told it to, came up as call for price, in stock. Great. Let's click on View Details. Underneath those really nice images from Triumph, you have all of those specs and features. Now, if you were to sell this bike as a package or included some other details on the first page down in this description box, those details are going to appear on the final listing above this description with its own big, bold title that will say Dealer Notes and Insight. Now let's jump back to the dashboard page of our editor. Now, let's say that you get into this editor later on today and you need some help. There are 3 areas in which you can get help. Once you're on your dashboard page, your first line of defense will come at the bottom of these list of white boxes. It will be roughly in this area, and it will have a title that says Technical Product Support. It'll give you their direct phone number and email, and you can reach out to that large, talented team anytime that you need assistance. Your second line of defense, and for whatever reason, when I log into my editor, it does not show up, but it will when you log into yours. To the left of your business name, right here in large green line text, will say Help Center. Within the Help Center, I have recorded many training videos as well as typed out many how-to articles with images as well. And your final line of defense comes in the form of Request Update. This one can only be used once your site has gone live. But let's say you get into that situation, your site just went live, you need something changed, and you either don't know how to do it, don't have time, or a mixture of the two. You can click on Request Update and ask us to do it for you. We'll jump back to our site, back to our home page. As soon as you're happy with the general look and functionality of your site, call your implementation specialist and ask for it to go live. When the site goes live, all of the changes you've made to this temporary gobbledygook address will be carried over to your final site, and that gobbledygook address will change over to the final domain that you have picked. You can go live with the site literally whenever you want. If you go into the situation of, hey, I've just took about a 10 to 15 minute look through my site after this morning's call, and you know what? I like what I see. I can make edits to the site. I can add inventory as I go. Can we just get this thing live today? If you are comfortable doing that, there is literally nothing stopping you. We'll jump back to our editor. That is all I have for you today, folks. Until I talk to you again, this has been Benjamin with ARI, your website company. And make sure to check out all of my other help articles and help videos in the system should you have questions about specific areas in the editor. Bye-bye.